My channel isn't completely dead. That's a bit surprising. Considering that my last upload was 3 months ago, I don't think you can expect another upload from me this year. Anyway, remember last year when there was that massive fish kill in the Murray-Darling, and the ABC's response to that was Darling River drying out because cotton farms mostly owned by massive corporations have been taking shit tons of water out of the Darling River. The MurrayDarling Basin has been drying out because of drought. Okay, so the main point I want to make is that this guy's a fat cunt. Another small point I want to make is that the Darling River is not supposed to stop flowing, even in prolonged periods of drought. It still rains on mountains on the coast, allowing water to be collected, allowing rivers to form and flow on land, supplying the Murray-Darling with water. This keeps it flowing during droughts. Ecological evidence has shown that the Murray-Darling drying up is incredibly rare, and only happens less than once in 1,000 years. With human intervention, though, these rare events have been happening quite frequently. High flows still make it down the river, but small and medium flows get stopped by weirs and dams, or the cotton industry pumping the rivers dry. The main reason for the fish kill last year and the river not flowing is because of things like increased irrigation for water-hungry crops like cotton during one of the worst droughts in Australian history. On average, the Murray-Darling Basin has approximately 24,000 gigalitres of water in it. That's on average. Think about how much less there would be during droughts. Entire rivers have been diverted to privately owned dams or pumped dry. Take the Colgora River in Queensland, which has been stopped by a weir and had its water diverted into Cubby Station, which is this fucking massive cotton farm covering hundreds of square kilometres. So this guy called Barnaby Joyce is in charge of the environment in the National Party. Look at him, it looks like he's bloody struggling to breathe. So Barney the fat cunt approved an $80 million water buyback to a company called Eastern Australia Agriculture. Thing is, his own bureaucrats estimated that the water bought was worth approximately half of that. It just so happened that in the 2013 election, Eastern Australia Irrigation, the company that owns Eastern Australia Agriculture, donated $55,000 to the coalition. Can't see a conflict of interest there. Don't mind the fact that the cotton farm pumped the water out from the Darling and Menindee lakes for free. There's also the time the government drained the Menindee lakes twice in just a few years. The Menindee lakes are a vital part of the Murray-Darling for fisheries production, and are 5 times the volume of Sydney Harbour. Like, that's probably bigger than fucking Lake Tuggeranong. Because of a combination of factors like rivers drying up and the Menindee lakes drying up as well, fish levels in the Murray-Darling Basin are at around less than 10% of pre-European levels. There are other examples of the cotton industry and shitty governments being incredibly destructive to local communities and ecosystems, the biggest one being the Soviet Union under Stalin implementing policies that dried up the Aral Sea. The Aral Sea used to be the 4th largest lake on Earth and was a major part of the Soviet fishing industry, as well as providing crucial fresh water in an otherwise dry region. The policies were diverting the 2 rivers that fed the Aral Sea, the Amur in the south and the Sib, what the fuck is that supposed to say, in the east, into plantations which grew mostly cotton, with the goal of making cotton a major Soviet export. I mean, probably would have been better to grow food, but you'll never guess that a lake in the desert with no water flowing it might start to dry up. Look at these dystopian images from the 1960s onwards of the lake drying up. As the lake dried up, it also became shit tons more salty, which meant that everything living in it also died, so the small amount of the lake that's left is also dead. Today the lake is less than 10% of its original size. The fucking Soviets were also testing chemicals on the islands of the lake which were no longer surrounded by water. This has led to things like increased cancer and the tiny amount of people left in the region. There's also a low chance the sea can be saved because the modern-day countries of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan economies depend on cotton exports. There's been small amounts of work done by Kazakhstan to save the North Aral Sea, that little bit there. Yeah, but overall, the Aral Sea probably deserves its own video. There's also the $500 million pipeline from the Murray River to Broken Hill. Thing is, Broken Hill used to have a reliable water source at the Menindee Lakes, which are only 100 kilometers away, compared to the Murray River, which is 270 kilometers away. It's almost like upstream irrigators manufactured a problem, and the Nationals were there to help fix it. The around 4 people in Broken Hill didn't want a pipeline because they thought it would be an excuse to just continue pumping the lakes dry. Anyway, I might make a second video about this shit. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed and liked the video or commented something. See ya, cunts.